incredible people here who are taking care for us, and for invitation which was transferred via Jaya Prakash, which I respect very much, that he really tried to put two worlds together in such a special place as this is where we are now. So I would like to show where I'm coming from, because Slovenia is not so known, and it is, but we can still compare it with India. Slovenia is part of the European Union, it's a member of European Union. It's on the north part, the most northern part of Mediterranean coast, and on the other part it is linked with Alps, which are like European Himalaya, and there is a Pannonic plate where it is then going in direction to the east, to Poland, Russia, and Ukraine, and so on. On the other side, that's Italy and Italian culture, and Slovenia is really geologically and in all other aspects, it's a mixture. So we normally have to speak several languages, we have to adapt very much, and we respect also people who are coming to us, and they are very much welcome. We have 2 million people and 47 kilometers of the sea coast. India has 7,500 kilometers of the coast, and if you calculate it a little bit, Slovenia has 2.5 centimeters of the coast per capita, and India around half a centimeter. So it's comparable. But there are other aspects which I would say which are not. Here I showed some small beauties. Our capital is on the right, and also on and then Alps and one lake, Bled, with the church on the island is there. Slovenia is otherwise very religious country. We are mostly Catholic, but there are also Orthodox, then Islam, and so on. So we are a melting pot. And on the high right is one animal, which we call it human fish. It is not fish, it is not human, but it is very interesting because the skin is the color of the human skin. It lives in caves, and it can live 80 or 100 years. And it can stand without food for more than 2 years. So the metabolism is very, very specific, and it also shows the power of nature. Otherwise, it's amphibian, let's say similar as frogs or similar organisms, and it is there for ages, and it is one of the, let's say, protected animals in Slovenia. As I said, it was a challenge which Jaya told me that we have, he expects that I'm talking about my field. I'm a biotechnologist, mainly a guy who is dealing with cell cultivations for clinical trials, helping also some in not in xeno, but in transplantations. I'm also an organ donor and so on, so because it means, I think it is very honorable and good way. Now I'm too old, so nobody would like to have my organs anymore. But still, I'm showing my goodwill for it. But here, you have to use technology properly for the humans and for the whole world. For all these, let's say, values which we heard, when we are taking care for human lives, human quality of life. And also each technology brings a lot of challenges, like there was a definition of, how you say it, difficult challenges or dynamic challenges. On this picture is one of our employees, the head of our processing unit. That's a very intelligent young student. Like here I see a lot of similar ones. And she was the mother of the all cell lines and cells which we have in our laboratory. So, in reality, when we ask ourselves why we are doing all these things, why we are trying, what we try to do in our life. So, generally, I collected things, we don't want to die. So we want to live forever. Theoretically, it can be very boring. You see a lot of movies from the Hollywood or somewhere else. If all your friends will die and you will stay alone, is this really nice? You know, then you see all these vampires, which are more than a few thousand years old, sucking human blood. But in reality, you know, nothing is changing for them. So it's a boring life. So you have to be happy. Well, these people who are living forever, most of them, they show that they are not happy. Of course, they have to be young. You know, it means you have to look young. And you have to be wise like an old person, which it was not touched by dementia. So these are all quite challenging things for technology, which we have to achieve, and this is not so easy. And let's say, okay, if we accept, we will die, okay. But then what we are afraid of, or what we don't want? We don't want to suffer. Not just the physical suffer, you can get some medications and so on, and most of the pain you can take. But, you know, this life is then not really acceptable. I know my mother, when she was dying and she was in pains, she didn't want to have sedatives because she told me, I would like to feel when I'm dead. And so long and healthy life is something what we want to have. And this technology, which we are also part of it, we are trying to achieve. And we were quite successful. You know, it means humankind was quite successful. When I counted, and we had a discussion also with Thomas years ago about the lifespan and increases of the lifespan in our part of the world, I checked, and average lifespan in Slovenia, when my grandfather was born, it was in 1865, was 38 years. Why? Because a lot of children died, people died because there was no simple operations, there was no blood transfusion, and so on. And there were a lot of diseases which you can prevent by vaccination. And the second part was after the Second World War when antibiotics came. So vaccines and antibiotics were really, let's say, increasing the lifespan in our area very much. And of course, a lot of other medical technology and other things which also increased, but they mainly increased the quality of life. Because if we are aware, let's say in Western medicine, when we calculate or see what are the medicines which we are using and pharmacy producing and selling, most of them are symptomatic drugs. What does it mean? If I have a headache, I don't heal the cause of my headache, but I would like to get rid of my headache. And if it's gone, I'm satisfied. So I'm not really trying to heal myself. Or something similar. Antibiotics are different. With antibiotic, you really heal certain person. So now we are also searching for other parts which are staying young, look nice, And here Jaya has a lot of practice. He knows he has to be a psychologist and also a very good, not mechanic, but the guy who is an artist, who have to know medicine, aesthetics, have to see what will happen with certain person, and also, let's say, read their psychology. And it is, we think that there were mostly women, but in other last times I heard that mostly men would like to look young, and now you can just imagine why they want to look young, at least from the outside. But the real thing is that you have to be also young from the inside. If you have low energy, if you you could just, let's say, have a vision of the young person, but deep inside you are old, you are not satisfied, and also this face and all this will be gone very soon. So with the technology which we have, we are trying to get new and new drugs, and also saving human lives, taking care for the cancer, cardiovascular diseases, and so on. We calculated that in Slovenia, in 20 years, 1/3 of the people will die of cancer. And cancer will be mostly a chronic disease if you know how to handle. But what we don't want is all this, what is coming with the current drugs for cancer. We don't want to see suffer. We don't want to lose hair. We don't want to vomit. We don't want all this, what is coming with it. So we are searching for better solutions. And here, cells are something which are bringing new hope. Of course, these technologies are new, and they are bringing with it also new challenges. It's not that just you transplant cells, you put them in the body, and then the patient will wait what will happen. You need something more. And there are questions which Dr. Anand will also try to point it from the other side. But according to the legislation and regulations which we have in the world, and each country signed it, even more than there are countries in the United Nations, you wouldn't believe, is how to perform and protect patients in clinical trials, and how to register drugs in the same way. These are so-called good practices. Good manufacturing practice, so it means how you handle the cells, that if you get the source of the cells, that also the donor is protected, that you are not misusing his information, his material, and so on. And of course, later on, that you are also not buying and selling the cells and organs. This is something which is, let's say, in Europe and in most of the world, absolutely unacceptable. But if you want to be sure that patients won't, let's say, suffer, we have to perform so-called preclinical research. It means before you can use something on the human, you have to be sure that it will be safe, that it won't make any harm to the patient, also for long term. And it's becoming more and more personalized, because what is good for me is probably not good for you, and vice versa. So there are some so-called disease models which are then coming from the laboratory to the animals, and you have to test animal models on animal models, how safe are these drugs, and also how effective they are. Here we are coming also in the field of ethics and protection of animal lives, because animals are, we harm them, and if you ask them, they won't agree. And on the other hand, we are not here to develop drugs which can eradicate diseases in mice. That's not our intention. So this animal testing will be reduced as much as possible, and will be replaced by so-called disease in a dish, organoids, and so on, which can take over some of these questions. And if you do all this, that becomes terribly expensive. And now, when we are talking about, let's say, equal opportunities, and that everybody has to go to the school, have right to be in the school and be equally, at least equally treated, now here you have separation of the population where, can you, let's say, in India, you afford to have a drug for, let's say, for cancer treatment, for hematological cancer treatment, where you will pay $500,000 per patient. In Slovenia, is unacceptable, and in India, I'm sure too. So something has to be done that this is not so expensive. But if you want to obey the rules, it is just not possible. Then you have to go and develop something which is, let's say, a little bit less expensive, but also at the same time effective, and also a little bit change the rules if you see that they are too tight. But on the other hand, in the populations which can afford, let's say, some of these treatments, population is decreasing. So let's say we have a negative trend of population in European Union, especially also in Slovenia, we are less and less. My aunt is living in Kenya, and she went there in 1968, and in Slovenia we have 2 million people, and in Kenya they have 8 million people. Now Kenyans are close to 100 million, and we are still 2 million. So, you know, these are really drastic changes, and this is in our lifespan. And also this population, which is rest in Europe or in developed world, it's old. Again, what we were talking before, it's not healthy, and somebody has to pay for their health, and also for their pensions and so on. So that's a big challenge. So instead of being young and healthy, we are old and sick. And what else? What we want? We want to buy our security. We have to invest in the insurance company that my life will be happy and it will be prosperous. And it's coming to so far that it makes no sense. So Western population is searching for something else. We are seeking for other part which is missing, and the spirituality is like a user interface which brings, let's say, material and non-material world, and transcendence brings to the real daily life. We can achieve it through several ways. One is definitively art, what we are doing, let's say music, literature, painting, and so on. Then the others who practice more religion, but they would like more and more, let's say, truth, definite truth, and nothing else, you know. But, you know, then the others, and quite a lot of them, especially young ones, go to meditation, yoga, and also sports. And so, is there a conflict with science and religion? Why? Because science tried to explain in the specific way how, with experiments, with logical things, the manifestation of life which we see. And religion is giving more or less definite answers, which are then, at least in Europe, they were in conflict in the past. Let's say, if you will be in Europe 200 or 300 years ago with a smartphone, you will definitively burn on the stake. You will be a witch, you know. So, and it has to be eradicated. And also in the past, if we are looking in our religion, the symbol of the half-god who was bringing light to the humanity was Prometheus. And Prometheus and light was, it means he enlightened people, so it means he brought them science. And he was punished for it, that the bird was eating, eagle was eating each day his liver, and during the night liver were regenerated. And he's also a symbol of regenerative medicine. In Christian religion, there is another one who was also the light bringer. It's called Lucifer. It's a symbol of hell. It's the ultimate devil. So we ask ourselves, are scientists devils because we are bringing light to humanity? That's important to, and you cannot neglect this. So we, also the scientific community, have to bring ethics, ethical issues and ways how to prevent that science will be misused in one or another way. But also this ethics is changing during time and also different developments and scientific discoveries. Now, we tried, humans were also, we have doubts, and scientists are normally, normal scientists have doubts, and he does not believe something just like that. So there was also attempts, okay, that's a literature, the science fiction from Borges from 1970s, that how you can prove that the God exists. Yeah, that's the way that you see the flock of birds, sparrows or whatever, and you know that, and because it's in your imagination, just you know how much birds you see, but even you didn't count them, so you say there are more than one and less than 100. And then you say, okay, if God exists, and God knows everything, he knows also how many birds were in this flock. And and you know that if if nobody knows, then this number is indefinite. And if somebody knows that how much birds is inside, this number is definite. We all know that the number in the flock is definite. So it means God exists. It's a mental play. Of course, there are a lot of mistakes, but it sounds nice, and see the attempts how you would like to prove scientifically that God exists or it doesn't exist. Then it's one very interesting guy. That was the way when I came in love with mathematics. It's René Thom from 70s. He was describing catastrophes. Because he realized that people are thinking, we don't understand exponential developments. We understand linear developments. So he tried to explain how to calculate when the catastrophe will happen. And this you also, I have it in somewhere there. It's a paper when you can show how the development in the life happens. So it means in one way you see, let's say if you say that this plate is, are all mathematicians, normally our teachers of mathematics, they had better knowledge, and they were developing slowly but surely with better knowledge. And they were on this so-called equilibrium surface. But then also when they have a lot of knowledge, they started to speculate. So the knowledge was not so important, but how you have your imaginations, how you put all these things in combination. But then you are coming to the dangerous position, this catastrophic position, when there is this, you know, dynamic part of this sheet of the paper, when you have something what is very acceptable and non-acceptable. Yeah, I will try. So the paper is like that, if you see. And in this way, you get a lot of knowledge. In this way, a lot of speculation. And here you have something which makes sense, and here something which does not make sense. And if you drop as a mathematician downstairs, you can never come back again. So at the lower part, you will be not known anymore, or you will be in hospital because you will be mentally ill. Here you will be a genius who will get a Nobel Prize. And now the ultimate part, it's from Arthur Clarke. It's from Tibetan lamasery. When the guys were for years trying to write all the names of the god. They defined that it should consist from maximum 9 letters, and when all the names will be written, then the world will stop to exist. It means it will go back to singularity, and we are talking today. But they were practical too. So when the computer science will help them, why should they, let's say, write all these names? So they ordered IT specialists to write them and accelerate this. And the guys who were there will realize, say, okay, what will happen now? The last name will be written, so it's better to run away before they will realize that the world will still exist. Then they went to the airport, waiting for a plane to go. It was night, very nice, bright night, and a lot of stars. And one say, hey John, now the computer wrote the last God name. And then the other one said, look, the stars are fading. So it means universe stopped to exist at this moment. So that's all for now. Thank you.